Hey, my diverse speakers. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. So, I am going to get straight to the point. We have been on a paid speaker visibility sprint for the last 7 days. This is something I do from time to time with my Get Paid to Speak community. We are a community of diverse speakers who are talented, who are insightful, who are changing the game, and who will have powerful and transformative narratives to share. Now, what gets in our way is our mindset and not showing up as visible, credible leaders, and also not understanding what it really takes to go from free to fee-based speaking. And I am on a mission to help 1 million diverse speakers get paid to speak. Now, in this episode, I'm going to be sharing about, why DIY isn't just the way forward. And I'm going to use my own example because actually it's something that I had to learn when I was transitioning from free to fee. So when I decided that I wanted to become a paid speaker, I knew I couldn't do it by myself. I knew that there were some skills that I needed to work on. And as someone who understands about LinkedIn visibility and visibility in general, visibility was not the area which I needed help and support with. Actually, for me, it was storytelling and more about stagecraft. Whilst being a good speaker doesn't get you paid, actually, it's a number of things that go hand in hand that allowed you to have the right mindset, to be clear and specific about who you serve, to also be relevant and bookable, but also have the inner confidence to actually ask to be paid. Now, all of these things coming together is what helps you to create a paid speaker pipeline and helps you to get paid to speak. It isn't about having 10K followers. It isn't about being an influencer or winning awards and all the things that you might think, oh, having an amazing show reel. Because whilst having credibility anchors, don't get me wrong, like a show reel or awards or 10K followers help, they are not the thing that actually gets you paid to speak. It is fundamentally a mindset, a way of being, and then understanding, where you are actually. And what I realized was where I was at the time, I was wanting to become a paid speaker. For me, it was about actually the stagecraft and the storytelling, because actually, whilst I know how to be visible, there are some elements around how I say it that I knew that I needed some support and help with. Now, what's been fantastic around the paid speaker visibility sprint is that we have been able to, in our 7 days together, start to think about, what do we think about visibility? How do we feel about it? And why haven't we been showing up? And there's been some phenomenal stories in our group around, amazing, incredible experts and thought leaders who have realized that actually they haven't felt like showing up. They've lost confidence potentially. They may have had stories in their mind, and they may have had like a lot of things going on. Or we've had realizations around thinking about how consistent are you being, because it's all very well and good to be out there for your business, for your passions, and things where you don't feel self-judgment or worried or conscious or whatever, and then realizing that you haven't been paying as much attention to your paid speaking, and that is a gap. So the paid speaker visibility gap is around the fact that you're probably very confident around your business, primary, your career, all the things that you care about, where you don't feel like there's any pressure or any judgment, or you're wondering about, how you can get it right. When we do start to like self-judge around, being a paid speaker and what that looks like and what that gets to be for us. And that's when we can start listening to our own stories, start getting like hung up on the wrong things. Like I said, you can have a small number of people in your network and still be paid to speak, because having a large network doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be paid, because actually it's not about having lots and lots of people in the network. It's about having the right people in the network and also doing the legwork behind that, which is actually doing the outreach, and making sure that we are gathering market intelligence, that we are speaking the right language, that we are showing up consistently, that we're following up, and that we are not letting like rejection get to us. Because one of the things as a paid speaker we have to recognize and realize is that it is a long game, right? So what I mean by this is most of the time we are just seeing highlights reels, because highlights reels are attractive. They're what makes us feel good, and that's what helps us to bring us more success. But ultimately, the highlights reels don't really show the full story or the full picture. And it's no shade of blame here, because obviously that is what you need to do, because you need to be projecting and showing that you have been paid, that you are credible, that you have the right kind of evidence. As we were talking about, I think yesterday or the day before, don't put out poor quality videos or photos, because as I said in the past with hands up, I didn't realize that actually that is harmful, because it shows that you don't understand that people want to have their event, their conference, their company, their fund, whoever it is, they want to be seen at a certain kind of level. And if you're down here in what they perceive and they're up here, there's going to be a gap, and they're not going to be reaching out to contact you or to have you on their stage, in their company, or whatever. Even if you deliver amazingly, you get good feedback, and all the things. So this is why, to a certain extent, that yes, it does matter how it looks. And as I said yesterday, I think having a subset of assets that you use that are high quality and are demonstrating that look and feel that you want to project is the best thing to do. And don't get me wrong, yes, you may occasionally, as appropriate, want to use things that aren't as polished, because it is telling a certain kind of story, is making a particular kind of point. But the point that I make to you very strongly is that overall, you will not be wanting to have that as the main overall feel. You will want to have that from time to time, because you want to have that humanness, that connection, that that realness, right? But generally, you want to be showing more of that high quality finish, and using those, as I said, subsets of assets, time and time again. And the point I was making about why DIY only gets you a certain way is because you're not going to know this, and I didn't know this until actually I was analyzing and thinking about what am I seeing out there, what seems to be working, what's not working. But also, as I said, I brought into help. So I brought into help around storytelling. I brought into help around understanding more about the speaking industry itself. So I have a storytelling coach. I'm in another ladies sort of orbit where I am, from time to time, I'm paying to be on her speaking like programs and masterclasses, because having the insight into what do bookers really want, and how do they perceive us, and what are the right things to be doing, and how are we best and most able to effectively tell our stories, is super helpful, and it's not something I can just pick up by watching other speakers that are ahead of me. Because yes, you can pick up amazing things from people who are ahead of you, don't get me wrong, and it's really helpful to do that. But actually, ultimately, you need to be investing in where your gaps are, whether that is visibility, whether that's stagecraft, whether that's storytelling, whether that is outreach, whether that is pitching, because it takes a whole 360 system for you to become a paid speaker and for you to build that pipeline where you're getting the right kinds of invitations. So having the shop window proactively working for you is super helpful, because then as you're building the pipeline for the strategic partnerships, the strategic paid opportunities that you're wanting, the shop window is helping you to get bonus opportunities. And as I said, when I started this series, I think, well, if I haven't told you the story, I'm going to just tell you that briefly, is that before I was even serious in pitching for gigs and really looking after and crafting my profitable paid speaker brand. And by the way, I've got to tell you, I've actually got an amazing free diagnostic tool, which is on the website. It's called the Profitable Speaker Brand Scorecard. It's free to use, and this shows you the 4 main areas of how to go from free to fee. In fact, I'll drop the link under today's episode, because I haven't actually added that, to show you and give you access to that so that you can actually assess where you are. And then, going back to the fact that, yes, we need to be mindful that we need to assess where we are, know where we are, but also understand, what support and guidance that we need. Because actually, ultimately, we're going to get there faster if we are actually learning from those who've already got there and who are continuing to up level and to continue to be a lifelong learner. Like, I am a lifelong learner. I understand, and I've got reached a certain level, but I am striving and reaching for more. And I want more diverse speakers to strive for more and to aim for more. And for us all actually to be able to meet the ambitious goal I have, to have 1 million diverse speakers get paid to speak by 2030. And the only way we're going to do that is actually by us really understanding, where we are in terms of where our gaps are and where we need to, refine, iterate, all that good stuff. And where we need to actually just be more consistent, be more visible, and understand that we need to be more resilient, because actually part of being a paid speaker is that failure and rejection. It happens all of the time, but you're not seeing that, because what you're seeing is the highlights reel. And someone who I have a lot of time and respect for is a gentleman called David Averin. Now, you probably haven't even heard his name, but the reason I'm telling you his name is because David Averin is a customer success speaker. He is absolutely brilliant in so far as, he understands, even at his level, he is far ahead of me. And I respect him because he talks about the business of speaking and what it means to be a paid speaker, and the fact that you have to build your pipeline, and the fact that you have to be resilient, that you have to be doing the outreach, that you have to be consistently visible, and that you have to be actually understanding your market and solving a business problem which aligns with, where there are opportunities for you to actually to serve, for you to present your unique method, framework, um, methodology, and the way that you transform and help, organizations, individuals, professional bodies, and such like. So, just to conclude this episode, it is just to say that I run these paid speaker visibility sprints from time to time. This is January 2026. And so at the moment, we're just ending one, and it's been really phenomenal. I'm having great results. Just to recap on a couple of the great results we have seen. Sharon, who's been in our group for the last 7 days, had one person comment on her post and request her speaker fees. We've also had with Nafisa, she's had some colleagues reach out to talk about potential work. We've had with Kerry, him being invited potentially on a podcast, and all kinds of amazing things, because people were visible, they were direct, they were clear, and they were focused on who they were, what the problem was that they were solving, and what they were seeking from that piece of content. So, if you resonate with any of the issues in this episode today, please do just comment, DM me audit on over on LinkedIn, and I'd be glad to help you and share more info. So, just to say, like, being a paid speaker is about being iterative. What I mean by that is it's about really having that clarity of your problem that you solve, the outcomes that you provide, and speaking the language of your market, as well as showing up consistently and visibly, and doing the work around relationship building and pitching. So, I cannot wait for you to have watched this series. Let me know your thoughts and your feedback. This is the last episode, so this is going to be closing down. And then later on this month, I'm starting a new series all about my current speaker niche. And in fact, I've pivoted. So just briefly about that. So I'm now a leadership speaker, and I'm now speaking on permission-based leadership. And I recently launched my manifesto. And the highlight, or the key phrase from that manifesto is that don't wait for permission, actually advocate for yourself and ask to be paid, ask for the promotion, ask to do that deal, ask to collaborate, ask for what you want, and don't sit back and outsource your power. And so with that, I am going to be doing a separate YouTube series that is about making your ask. And it's going to be like the power of making your ask. It's going to be 26 episodes around, how we can learn to uh, be more not shy coming forward, advocating for ourselves, and knowing that asking is leadership and it's not begging, it's not asking for favors, and it's actually how confident leaders are more successful, and who get to where they're going far quicker. Because when we are holding back and playing small, nobody wins. But when we are, playing big, we are being visible, consistent. We are leaning into our authentic self and not worrying about imperfection. You can see, even in this episode, I trip over my words, I speak too fast, but it's all about me knowing that every day that I come out here, I can improve and I can iterate. And that is the whole thing about being a paid speaker. It is about that iteration, that resilience, that gathering that data, and knowing that you have amazing insights, um, transformative tools, and amazing, offers to change the world, to change your market. So, of course, be bold, be brave, be marvelous, back yourself, and of course, be one cheerleader. All right, take care and see you soon.